another one.
All right, so this email that I received from the Netherlands, so happy to hear that. Because I remember like a while ago I had an email from someone in Japan. I'm not sure if it was Tokyo, but they were in Japan. They were a data engineer, and they were asking questions about when I was working on Selenium Wire. So and now we get another one from the Netherlands. So that is totally awesome. Shout out to the Netherlands as always. So the question is, let me see if I can find this. All right, cool. All right, so the question says, I am a software tester from the Netherlands and I have been following you on YouTube for a while now. Okay. I like your content. Oh, wait, thank you so much.
I appreciate you.
I'm also watching your Q&As and have a question myself, and I was hoping you can help me with it. I transitioned from a job in sales to software testing role 2.5 years ago. Still happy with the change, so that's awesome, and I congratulate you. Over these years, I transitioned from a junior software tester to a I guess medium, like what would be, I guess it's just a general software tester, associate software tester, whatever you would call someone who's at a mid-level, right? Maybe software test engineer too. And since a couple of months, I have an additional role as a scrum master of my team. All right, so they're starting to stack up the roles. Next to this, I also handle support tickets as well. And I am the only tester on my team. Sounds like you're working for a startup. Definitely sounds like a startup. My days consist of pair testing with the developers, handling support tickets, and my scrum master accountabilities. My goal is to become better in test automation. I'm using TypeScript with Playwright, so that's awesome. Playwright is the new up and coming thing. The thing is that I noticed that I don't always have sufficient time for test automation. One of the reasons is that it is relatively new for me, and it takes me more time to write the automated tests. In my free time, I also spend time learning on my own by practicing on dummy websites and reading articles about test automation. What I am wondering is, what would you say is the best way to block time for test automation in my day? Is there a best way, or is test automation most of the time dependent on how much time you have left in your day? Do you perhaps have tips for me how other testers handle this? So this is a very, very great question. And I think tons and tons of QA people struggle with this question. All right. So let me drop that real quick. So this is the thing, right? Let me start the clock on this one, okay? And I will be able to advise you on the best scenario, okay? So let's do this. Let's do this. So, and I already responded to this email, but I wanted to share with everyone else in case anyone else had a similar question, right? So I think that, like I said, number one, congratulations on, being in this role for 2.5 years, transitioning from sales into QA. And especially like sales is not normally a technical role. So being able to get into this tech field, and then now you're on your way. You're on your way. All right. So a lot of people in QA, especially when they're getting to automation, where they're also responsible for like testing the application as well as writing the automation test. They always fall into this whole cycle where I get it tested, but I don't have time to write the automation test, especially if you're taking on these multiple roles. What I suggested, and what I normally suggest in these type of situations, is for someone who's learning it, instead of spending time practicing on dummy websites, and reading articles about test automation, it's not really gonna help that much, right? Because you just get the concept, but you really have to do the work. And practicing on dummy websites, it's not gonna benefit you as much as having an actual application that you're working on at work. Yes. So instead of spending the time on your own to practice on dummy websites that mean absolutely nothing to you, why don't you, in your extra time, in your own time, why don't you spend it working on your work website, working on like automating stuff for your job? Now, some people might say, "Oh, I'm not on the clock. I don't want to do extra work." But it's not, don't look at it as extra work. Look at it as a learning opportunity on something that is valuable, right? So I would say, I always say, like, if you're going to spend extra time learning something, learn it on something that's valuable. And right now, because a lot of people who are learning automation, they don't have a valid application to practice on, but you're actually working in the field. You have the what's the word I'm looking for? You have the opportunity that so many people are dying to have, right? So what I'm saying is I would want you to actually, like, whether you're spending an extra hour or 2 hours a day, right? Spend that time automating stuff for your job, for the application you're working on at work. And that way you're going to get a lot more comfortable with the Playwright, with TypeScript, with the code base, with your application at work. And you're also able to commit it and build a CI/CD pipeline. So that is one aspect of it, right? The other aspect, which you're also in a great position as the Scrum Master to advocate. So as a test engineer and as a Scrum Master, you're in a perfect position to advocate for quality. And what does that mean to advocate for quality? You can make the case on why it is important to have automation included into the stories. So what I was explaining is in your acceptance criteria and in your definition of done, it should include that automation should be written for these. And now it makes you you're not the only person who's going to be responsible for automation. Now the developer is going to take some of that responsibility as well, as long as you're making sure that everything is tested and functional. But now a story cannot be completed, a story cannot be done if there's not automation. And if you do not have the capability to do it all, the developer should also fill in, because quality is everyone's responsibility. And at the end of the day, if you're directing how it should be tested, and this is the code, and like they can actually take part of it. So it's a twofold approach, right? It's a twofold approach. It's spending the extra time to get a lot more familiar with Playwright and TypeScript and the whole framework on your own time. And then also making automation a requirement and a responsibility for your team. That way you're not able to just pass it up and say, oh, I don't have time to do it. I don't have time to do it. No. Automation is essential. And the way that you can get the buy-in is saying, hey, we need to continue shifting to the left in our development practices. And if we don't have a CI/CD pipeline yet, then we need to get one. And if automation is not in our CI/CD pipeline for faster validation and faster confirmation and regression testing, then we need to add it. And by doing that, that's what you're going to use to get the buy-in from your developers, from your product owner, and things like that. And you being the Scrum Master, you can make a case for it. You being the QA tester, you can make a case for it. All of that good stuff. So I think you're in a perfect position to win. But like I said earlier, I am so proud of your success. 2.5 years in QA and enjoying it. When coming from sales, which is it's not an easy feat to do, and so many people, they just wish that they had the opportunity that you had. So I totally celebrate you and commend you. One last round of applause just for you.
Let's get it.
And shout out to my people in the Netherlands. You see, the tech savages are international, right? And on that note, we are going to wrap up that question.
Scrolling through my phone, I can't find a spark. Each day feels like a bug in a broken arc. But my lines of code know me better than they do. In love with these scripts, they hold me true. Conversations fizzle, hearts feel like a chore. Bad dates come and go, but the code's always there. Lines of love in the night, pulling me from despair. These fleeting connections can't break through the strain. I'm lost in these programs, I'm coding my pain. Dining on hopes, but the vibe feels so wrong. Wondering if I can fix what's taking too long. But while dinner gets cold, my thoughts start to race. I'd rather be debugging in my own safe space. Is it me or the code that keeps me awake? Bad days come and go, but the code's gets cold, my thoughts start to race. I'd rather be debugging in my own safe space. Is it me or the code that keeps me awake? Awake, awake. Bad days come and go, but the code's always there. Lines of love in the night, pulling me from despair. These fleeting connections can't break through the strain. I'm lost in these programs, I'm coding my pain. So I lay down my